Okay, let's talk about character now and what they're looking for from their applicants in terms of qualifying to be of good character. Now, some of the things that they'll be looking at and assessing of you to determine whether you're of good character or not and whether you're a good fit for the organisation will naturally be any criminal history that you may have. Now, again, if you have some type of criminal history, that doesn't necessarily mean you won't be eligible to apply. It does depend very much on the seriousness of the offending and the time frame of that offending. So obviously, if you've committed a criminal offence last week, that's going to have a significant impact on your chances of getting in. If it was 20 years ago, well, that's not as big a concern, but now they of course will assess the seriousness of that criminal offending. If you were a child and you pinched a Mars bar from a shop and you were spoken to, given official warning, or maybe charged with an offence, whatever the scenario is, that's on the lower level. And again, if it's a long time ago and it's on a lower level, it's not likely to have any impact. But if it's of a very serious nature, regardless of the time, it certainly could impact your chances. Now, most of the police organisations will have a list of the different types of offences and the period of exclusion where you couldn't apply. So if you committed an offence and you're not allowed to apply for 5 years and the offence happened 3 years ago, you simply won't be eligible. But after that 5-year period, you would be eligible to apply. Now, that doesn't mean that you automatically pass and they're not going to worry about that anymore and it's all good. They will look at that criminal offending very closely and you can expect a grilling about it. Why should we take you on if you're going to be enforcing the law, yet you're breaking the law yourself and quite a serious offence, etc. So expect a bit of a grilling, but if you're outside of those exclusion timeframes, you are eligible to apply and they will take your application. Very similar in relation to traffic offending. Plenty of applications come through with traffic history attached. So if you've had a couple of speeding fines or other offences that you've committed, that's again not necessarily going to cancel you from the process. It depends on the seriousness and the time frame. All right, let's keep moving. Associations is an interesting one. If you have associates who are of poor character, the fact that you have some type of association with that person could affect your chances of getting in. Now, sometimes you can't choose the associations. It might be a family member. It could be someone that you work with, where it's difficult for you to disassociate from that person. But understand that if you have an association with someone who is of poor character and could potentially create a risk to the organisation through the association with you, then that might cause you to be ineligible to apply. A typical example that's happened in the past, and there's a fantastic young applicant at the time, unfortunately a cousin of hers was associated with an outlaw motorcycle gang, which meant she was not eligible to apply, which is a real shame because she was a great applicant. However, good news story, 10 years later, back then she'd had a difficult conversation with her family and her cousin. 10 years later, she was able to satisfy the police organisation that there was no longer an association with that cousin. There was plenty of distance, no contact, etc. And she now has started at the police academy. So I'm really rapt for her. But there was a particular situation where it was completely out of her control. It was a family member, but it impacted her chances of getting in because of the association. So distance yourself from anyone who might affect your chances of getting in. All right, let's keep moving. A big one is social media. This is a huge one. They will be looking at your social media, every platform that you're involved in, and they will be looking at you from a character assessment point of view. Now, let's face it, when you're on social media being yourself and doing whatever the hell you do, that might not be the same person you want to present to the police organisation as the one that you're showing in your application. So you've got to be very careful about what you do in regards to social media, and in the checklist, in the action tasks for you to have a look at and to go through, I'll give you some more specifics about what you should be doing in regards to your social media to make sure that nothing there impacts on their assessment of your character. Okay, drug use, again, it's a common one. When I was 15, 30 odd years ago, I did smoke marijuana for a couple of times, but I haven't done it since. I've never used any other drugs, etc. I'm an idiot, but I won't do it again. Now, that kind of story is very, very similar. They will not cancel your application based on, if we can use the word minor for drug use, but if it's minor drug use, again, it's not serious, like criminal and traffic. If it's on the lower scale, and it's some time ago, it won't affect your application. However, be careful, because what some applicants do is choose not to disclose that because, I don't want it to affect my application. And then they don't disclose it, which is showing really poor character, dishonest and not honest and upfront, etc. We'll talk about that again shortly. But for now, drug use is not something that would automatically cancel you from the application, but it is something they assess in terms of your character. All right, references is the last one. They will be assessing your character and put some weight, not a lot to be honest, but some weight on the references that you provide. Now, if your referee is someone of good character and of a high standing in the community, their reference of you will carry a little bit more weight than someone who is maybe not of the same high standing or doesn't have the same high level of character for themselves. So references will come into play in terms of assessing your character. So when you're choosing a referee, choose someone of good character, not someone who you've known for 10 minutes, someone who's known you for a long time, and someone who, if possible, is in an important role within the community, a responsible role, or someone who would be seen as in high standing within the community in regards to their position, because that will help give credibility to what they say about you in their reference for you.